Hey, time for another out-of-this-world tale from our space. Here's a little reminder. Be cautious when your spouse insists someone is just a friend. Sometimes those just friends seem to know far too much, share way too many secrets, and send an awful lot of late-night messages for it to be innocent. In my case, my wife said it didn't count as cheating because it was only emotional. I cut things off and let her friends and family form their own opinions. My wife, Leslie, 27F, and I, 28M, have been married for 3 years. I'll admit right away, infidelity has been an issue for us before. A few months into our relationship, Leslie began texting another man she considered a friend. She told me about it herself, saying she felt awful. According to her, nothing physical had happened, and the text she showed me seemed to back that up. Even so, it ended our relationship at the time. We eventually reconciled, and she promised it would never happen again, that she'd learned from it. I took a long time to move past it, but I eventually forgave her. The fact she confessed on her own made all the difference. If I'd discovered it myself, I doubt we would have recovered. I kept a closer eye on things afterward, but I saw no signs she was messaging other men or seeking outside attention. I assumed she had matured. Our relationship was sweet and affectionate. We got married. Life was so good that I stopped thinking about the past. Until one day, a text notification on her phone suggested history might be repeating itself. I checked her messages and found she'd been chatting with another man. As far as I could tell, it hadn't gone physical. The guy lived overseas. In France, apparently. There were mentions of her visiting him, but they didn't seem like concrete plans. That wasn't the real issue, though. Just like before, she crossed a boundary we'd both agreed on. She confided in him about private matters, secrets I thought were ours alone. She shared frustrations about our marriage she had never brought to me. While she didn't insult me outright, the things she revealed were deeply personal. Their messages weren't explicit, but they had an unmistakable romantic undercurrent. Hurt. Some say the worst part of cheating is the physical betrayal, but for me, it's realizing your partner wants someone else more than they want you. Reading her messages made that clear, and it crushed me. I know cheating is the cheater's choice, not the victim's fault, but at the time I struggled to see it that way. I didn't sulk. I sat her down and told her I'd read her messages. She didn't deny it. She said it started as a friendly conversation after he commented insightfully on a Facebook post. She found him charming and funny. She claimed it just happened, that they clicked, and neither expected it to go that far. She insisted it wasn't cheating because it was only emotional, not physical, like he was just a best friend. I asked her one question. Would she be okay with me having the same kind of conversations with another woman? At first, she stayed silent. Then she said yes, but I caught the hesitation. She knew it was wrong but didn't want to label it as cheating. She called it friendship, connection, conversation, anything but what it truly was: emotional infidelity. When I named it, she accused me of thinking like a man, claiming I couldn't grasp that men and women could be friends without romantic intentions. I calmly read back some of her own messages, how he made her feel warm inside, how talking to him felt like coming home, how she imagined life with him in Paris. I asked if those sounded like things you'd say to a platonic friend. She got angry, saying I was twisting her words to make them seem worse. She claimed I was immature for bringing up her past mistake, arguing she'd already paid for it, and I was supposed to forgive and forget. But how could I forget when she was doing the same thing again? We never reached a resolution. She insisted it wasn't cheating. I felt she was splitting hairs. Sure, maybe she never slept with him, but pouring your heart out to another man like he's your partner is still a betrayal. Emotional intimacy belongs inside the relationship, and when you give it to someone else, it's cheating. Update. The responses to my last post were split. Most agreed she had cheated, but some disagreed, often bending logic to paint me as the bad guy. After reading comments and talking to real-life friends, I realized my instincts were right. She'd crossed the line. So I told her what I should have done the first time. I was ending things for good. She didn't take it well. She fell back on the same excuses. It was harmless, I was insecure, I was overreacting. She even accused me of abuse for looking at her messages. That accusation scared me. It's a serious charge, and she threw it out so casually. I suddenly worried she might make false claims that could ruin my life. I decided not to give her that chance. I stopped arguing, started recording on my phone, and began packing. She called me a coward for leaving over something meaningless. But I didn't respond. I just focused on getting out. I loaded up my things that same day and told her about mine. He agreed my concerns about Paul's accusations were valid, and told me I had made the right decision once those red flags appeared. His advice was simple. Never be alone with her again, and keep a record of every single communication from that point forward. Once the divorce papers were ready, we had them delivered to her. I stayed completely out of the process. When she received them, she called me, and I made sure to record the conversation. She asked if I was really certain about ending our marriage, saying I was throwing away 3 years over just some texts with a friend. I told her plainly it was far more than that, and she knew it. She had disrespected our marriage by flirting with another man. For a second I thought she might apologize. Instead, she went on the offensive, accusing me of being the one cheating. According to her, my own guilt was making me see infidelity in what she insisted was a harmless, platonic relationship. I couldn't tell if she truly believed her own words or was just trying to manipulate me. But if it was the latter, she nearly succeeded. Still, facts are facts. I had read those messages myself, and they weren't the kind of thing you send to just a friend. They read like sappy love notes from teenagers. She clearly had feelings for this man, and the only thing stopping her from acting on them was the ocean between them. I'd had enough of going in circles and ended the call. All I needed from her now was a signature on the divorce papers so I could move on. But, of course, she had to stir up more trouble. It started with a call from her sister. Normally we were cordial, but this time she was livid. She accused me of being cold and blindsiding Leslie. She claimed Leslie had told her everything and that I was letting my insecurities destroy my marriage. I was blindsided myself, attacked out of nowhere. As soon as I realized it was her sister calling, I started recording that conversation too. I asked if Leslie had actually shown her these friendly messages. She admitted she hadn't, but insisted she didn't need to because Leslie would never lie to her. I told her I could send over some screenshots so she could judge for herself if I was being insecure. She refused, so I ended the call. Then I decided it was time to tell my side of the story before Leslie completely twisted the narrative. I gathered the most revealing parts of their conversations. The emotional confessions, the longing to meet, the moments where Leslie gushed about dreaming of seeing him. Lined up together, they looked worse than I even remembered. These weren't casual chats. They were the exchanges of two people falling in love. It hurt to look at them, but I pushed that aside. She would soon be my ex, and I couldn't keep reopening the wound. Once I compiled everything, I sent the screenshots with a single question. Did these seem appropriate for a married woman to send another man? And I didn't just send them to her sister. I sent them to every mutual friend and family member of hers that I could. I told them Leslie had probably already told her version, painting me as overreacting to nothing. I asked them to decide for themselves. Honestly, I didn't care what they said back. I just wanted the truth out there. She had started the smear campaign. I wasn't about to let it go unanswered. Some replies did come in, and they were telling. Most admitted Leslie had given them a watered-down story, and they had believed her. A few even apologized. Her sister never responded, which I took as a silent admission she knew I was right but couldn't bring herself to say it. Most of Leslie's relatives stayed quiet, maybe out of loyalty, maybe because they didn't know what to say. Her mother, though, did respond. She apologized, said she had raised Leslie better, and promised to talk to her. She even hoped we might work things out. I didn't tell her there was zero chance of that. I had no interest in seeing whether Leslie could change. I was done. Still, her mom was kind, so I simply told her she didn't need to go to the trouble. Leslie's own reaction was over the top. I recorded that call too. She blew up, accusing me of turning everyone against her. I told her I hadn't twisted anything. I'd simply shared the facts, just like her sister had heard them from me. I reminded her that apart from a short intro, the only words I'd shared were hers and her friends'. If I was really just imagining things, then everyone else would see the friendship as innocent, right? So what was she so worried about? She shot back that I'd done it just to be petty. I reminded her she was the one who dragged others into this first. I had planned to divorce quietly, but if she was going to recruit people to her side, I was going to defend myself. She had no one to blame but herself. After that, she stopped reaching out. Maybe she finally realized she couldn't manipulate me anymore. Or maybe she was just furious. Either way, I was fine with it. I saw her enough in court. The divorce wrapped up faster than I expected. We didn't have much to split, so there was no fight over assets. She tried for alimony, but since we earned roughly the same, had no kids, and had been married for only a short time, she got nothing. The disappointment was obvious. I figured she'd have to find another way to fund her trip to France, if that's still what she wanted. I don't know much about her life now. Maybe she kept chatting with her French pen pal. Maybe she went to live with him, though I doubt it. What I do know is that everyone in her circle knows exactly what kind of person she is now. I still get messages from people saying they can't believe she did something like that. One night, her mother told me Leslie was back living at home and asked if I'd come talk to her. I politely refused. I told her I respected her, but Leslie had chosen someone else, and this wasn't the first time. I couldn't trust her anymore. Her mom was angry and said she'd speak to her again. I told her not to bother, though I'll admit, the idea of Leslie getting chewed out by her mother was a little satisfying. Eventually, I blocked most of her family too. It was a shame because many were genuinely good people, but they were still a direct connection to her. If I was going to cut her off completely, that meant severing those ties as well. Maybe it sounds harsh, but I wasn't taking chances. Walking away from her was one of the best things I've ever done for my mental health. It wasn't just about the cheating. It was about how she twisted words, threw out loaded accusations like abuse without a second thought, refused to take responsibility, and constantly spun the story to make herself the victim. Whether or not she ever slept with him didn't matter. She was toxic, and staying with her would have destroyed me. Sometimes I wonder how different things would be if I had just stayed broken up with her the first time. I could have saved myself so much pain. But the truth is, some people simply don't change. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. You handled this perfectly, OP. You stood firm, got legal advice, and kept your distance once things turned ugly. It's exhausting dealing with someone who never takes accountability and twists the narrative to play the victim. And tossing around serious accusations just to protect themselves. That's beyond wrong. Cutting off her family was tough, sure, but sometimes you have to do whatever it takes to protect your peace. So tell us, at what point does a friendship cross the line into emotional cheating? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on our space. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. See you next time.